Imagine losing everything at the age of 12, yet by 19, rising to change an entire industry. How did one orphan create the legendary brand of Rolex? Rolex is known today as one of the world's most luxurious brands, valued at around $8 billion. Yet, its origins lie in the remarkable journey of a determined young man whose early life was marked by loss and hardship. As an orphan who lost his inheritance, Hans Wilsdorf had nothing but a strong will to overcome his difficulties, a will that would eventually change an entire industry. With only passion and persistence to guide him, he left his familiar home, explored new lands, and began a journey that not only challenged old ideas of telling time, but also created the modern wristwatch, laying the foundation for a billion-dollar legacy. Forged by loss. Hans Wilsdorf's story began in Kulmbach, Germany on March 22, 1881, as the second of 3 children in a family that ran a modest yet respectable iron goods business. However, life was not kind to him early on. In 1892, his mother's failing health led to her untimely death, and just a year later, his father passed away, leaving Hans an orphan at the tender age of 12. This deep sorrow grew when he was suddenly placed in the care of his mother's brothers, who sold the family business to pay for the children's education. Sent to a strict boarding school in Coburg, Bavaria, Hans often felt lonely and different. Yet, during these hard times, he discovered the strength of self-reliance. By focusing on his studies, especially in mathematics and languages, Hans turned his personal grief into a strong determination that would later inspire him to change the world of watchmaking. A new beginning. At the age of 19, armed with a restless spirit and lessons from his early hardships, Hans left Germany for the promise of Geneva, Switzerland. In this lively city, he began working as an apprentice at a firm that exported pearls. This job gave him an early insight into business, teaching him the importance of quality and careful, patient work, values that would stay with him throughout his career. As he learned the tricks of the trade, stories from a Swiss friend about 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐫, a town famous for watchmaking, sparked his interest even further. That small spark of curiosity soon grew into a strong ambition to change the way time was kept so that it was easier and more reliable for everyday life. Later, when he moved to London at the age of 22, Hans expanded his skills by taking charge of sales and building good relationships with clients, all while holding on to the dream of creating a watch that would break the old mold. His journey was both a business venture and a personal quest to take control of a destiny shaped by early loss. The birth of a collaboration. One quiet afternoon, while talking with his older brother-in-law, Alfred James Davis, Hans shared a bold idea. He was ready to start his own watch business. Seeing the determination in Hans, despite his youth and difficult past, Alfred offered both financial help and full support. In 1905, their company, Wilsdorf and Davis Limited, was born. They began modestly by importing high-quality Swiss watch movements to England and fitting them into well-made cases. At a time when the pocket watch was the standard and wristwatches were seen as fragile or even too dainty for men, Hans believed that a well-made wristwatch could actually compete with and even surpass the old style. This belief became the key to a major change in the industry, a change built on the idea that new thinking comes from deep passion and the hard work born of personal struggle. A name is born. As his business gained strength, Hans faced a new challenge, creating a brand that mixed style with worldwide appeal. In 1908, after many long hours of careful thought, he came up with the name Rolex. He chose this 5-letter word for its simplicity, elegance, and ease of pronunciation in any language. A name short enough to fit on a watch face, and memorable enough to cross borders. Confident in his choice, Hans quickly registered the trademark. As Rolex began to win over a careful and wealthy clientele, global events added to its growing story. During World War I, a time that could have ruined many companies, the simple and reliable design of a wristwatch became very useful. Soldiers preferred using a small, easy-to-read Rolex over a bulky pocket watch, and the brand's reputation grew fast. By 1914, the company employed 60 people in London and earned praise, such as the first ever wristwatch chronometer rating from Switzerland. However, rising anti-German feelings and high export taxes in Britain pushed Hans to move his operations. In 1915, he shifted the company to Geneva, Switzerland, a hub of new ideas, where Rolex would continue to search for perfection. Mastering the message. Innovation was at the heart of Rolex, and in 1926, this was shown with the launch of the Rolex Oyster, the world's first waterproof wristwatch. Yet, Hans Wilsdorf knew that a great invention alone would not capture hearts worldwide. It needed an inspiring story. In 1927, Hans took advantage of a unique chance when London's 𝐟𝐸𝐫𝐸 set out to swim across the English Channel. Even though the cold water and the long swim were extremely challenging, she wore a Rolex Oyster around her neck. Although she did not complete the full distance, the fact that the watch stayed in perfect condition during the swim spoke loudly. This event was featured in an advertisement in the London Daily Mail and accompanied by creative displays, such as showing Rolex watches in fishbowls at store windows. Collaborations with top British models and the dramatic promotion of daring feats like a flight over Mount Everest turned Rolex from a simple watch into a symbol of strong reliability and bold technology. Hans's clever marketing turned each new product into a legendary story that mixed practicality with inspiration. Evolving the craft. Building on this success, Rolex continued to change watchmaking with sharp precision. In 1931, they introduced the Oyster Perpetual, a self-winding watch that freed the user from daily manual winding, with a design as practical as it was refined. During the challenging years from 1934 to 1940, Hans even explored making watches under his own name. However, these projects were halted because many key markets did not accept a German name. When World War II hit, export restrictions and economic struggles added more obstacles. Amid these hard times, Hans suffered the personal loss of his beloved wife in 1944. To honor her memory and secure the future of his work, he set up the Wilsdorf Foundation. Before his death in 1960, Hans handed full control of Rolex to the foundation, ensuring that his vision would remain untouched by commercial pressure. After the war, Rolex's reputation soared. By 1946, the company had certified 50,000 chronometers, a number that doubled by 1947, showing both outstanding quality and growing public trust. Landmark models like the Datejust, launched in 1945, and later the Day-Date, helped expand the legacy. In 1953, the Rolex Submariner emerged, a watch built to withstand the depths of the ocean. Later, in 1985, the firm began using a special, very strong steel called 904L, which helped keep their watches both tough and prestigious, a promise that still defines Rolex today. From the dark days of a troubled orphan to the bright lights of a global empire, Hans Wilsdorf's journey is a story of clear vision combined with tireless determination. Every stage of his life, marked by personal loss, strong ambition, smart innovation, and brilliant marketing, came together to build a legacy that lives on every time a Rolex is worn. His story reminds us that even when faced with great hardship, passion can spark a lasting change, transforming an industry and inspiring generations to dream beyond the ordinary.